All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Yak podcast. This is my first time kind of doing a solo thing where I just wanted to, preview the NBA season starting in, 5 days. Recording on Thursday right now, so season starts on Tuesday. I just really wanted to rank pretty much all the teams in each conference, go conference by conference. So I'm starting with the Eastern Conference. I think this is the categories that I had. We have finals contenders, the teams that really don't want to be in the play-in teams, teams that are fighting for the play-in, and the teams that should probably tank for Scoot or Wembenyama. As we saw last week, how impressive they were in that scrimmage with the G League Ignite and the Mets from France. But yeah, let's get started with the finals contenders. This is kind of pretty easy for the East. I think it's pretty much the same teams as last year. It's got to be Milwaukee. There's not really much explanation needed for Milwaukee. They probably still have the best player in the NBA with Giannis. They're returning Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton should be back in a few weeks. Obviously, they really missed him in the playoffs. They still have Brooke Lopez. Still have Wes Matthews. Still some good shooters around Giannis and Drew Holiday. And yeah, I mean, they should be either the 1 seed or the 2 seed. Definitely not in the play-in. So yeah, that's my first team in the East. I think the next team is kind of difficult, actually. Obviously the Eastern, contenders or reigning champions are the Celtics. So I think the Celtics got to be in there. Obviously, they have a issue with their coach right now, but it'll be interesting to see how the interim coach does, and if they can, continue their success that they had from last season. They obviously still have a lot of young guys, the two Jaylees, Robert Williams, Marcus Smart. I think Robert Williams is actually out for a little bit, but obviously Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, they added Al Horford somehow still playing, Grant Williams. So yeah, I mean they probably have one of the deepest squads, just like 1 through 8. So I think they're the next team. I think the third team is got to be Philly. I really like what they did this offseason. They added PJ Tucker. They added some help off the bench. Obviously, Maxi should be, better. I think he could be like a borderline all-star. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he plays better than Harden during the regular season. He just brings more energy. He's looking like a really good spot up shooter in the preseason. He's able to even shoot off the dribble. I saw him hit like a couple step backs in preseason. Uh, he definitely attacks the basket. He just needs to, continue to improve his decision making. And I think he could honestly be the best guard on that team. The next team, I would say, I'm not sure if that's it for the finals contenders. Obviously, we have Brooklyn. Um, that's probably the team with the widest range of outcomes. But yeah, I mean, they added Simmons obviously from the last playoffs. Joe Harris should be back. Cam Thomas looks better. Seth Curry, Patty Mills, Nick Claxton should be a little bit better. They did lose Bruce Brown, but um, I mean, I think Simmons could play that role and probably be, way better at it. I do think Simmons will be a really good fit for that team. You already see that he's pretty much almost averaging a triple double. I think he could almost average a triple double this season. So yeah, I think I gotta put the Nets. I think I'm not sure if they're finals contenders just because they got swept last season and they haven't really shown how much uh you know success and chemistry they have on the court. But I think yeah, it's kind of tough. I would probably put them in this category because they don't want to be in the plan, but I think they do believe that they are finals contenders. I think the next two teams are definitely playoff teams. Uh, let's start off with the Cavs. I mean, they obviously added Donovan Mitchell. They still have a Mobley and Garland and Allen. They didn't really give up crazy amount. I thought Agbaji would have been a great 3 for them, which is what they're technically still missing from that team. They're gonna have to play either Okoro, Dean Wade, or Karis LeVert. Levert was a midseason acquisition, but I think he should be better this season just because, it's hard to just get thrown into a team that already has, pretty good chemistry like that as they did last season. And the Cavs, they were like top 3 seed. going into like January, February until Mobley and Allen got hurt, but and obviously Mobley is hurt again right now, so it's going to be tough for them to get in that top three. As you see, the East is pretty deep and much improved from a lot of seasons before that. So yeah, I think I would have the Cavs right in there. I could see them being even the fourth seed or the fifth seed. Then the next team I would probably say is the Atlanta Hawks. They added DeJounte Murray. They don't want to be in the play-in. They don't want to, have to go through that again. But Capella is healthy. John Collins is, somehow still on the team, even though they want to trade him. I didn't really understand that because they had a really good team, 2 years before making the conference finals. And I thought Collins was a big part of that. And then they still have Okongwu, who's a pretty good big man who um, should be, continuing to improve as well. I think it's obviously you got to have the Miami Heat. I think obviously, there's six teams and then 7 through 10 is the plan. So it's kind of disrespectful to the former one seed who won 53 games last season. So I mean it's tough, but I probably yeah yeah I could see them easily swapping with Atlanta. But it's just like you're depending on a little bit. They lost PJ Tucker. You're depending on Lowry a little bit more. They really need Nikola Jovic to, blossom a little bit into a solid rotation player who can play defense as well. Because Struess and Hero, they probably need to improve on that end. The next team, I think it's got to be Toronto. Yeah, it's kind of in between Toronto and Chicago, right? But I feel like Toronto and Chicago, they are both playing teams, and it's hard to put Toronto over any of these six teams above them, or even seven, with Miami included in that. Um, Obviously, they still have a young team with Scotty Barnes and Anunoby, and although Siakam is probably a veteran now on this team, they still have a lot of pieces to work with when Van Fleet's still balling out there. Next team, like I said, Chicago. It really sucks that they still don't have Lonzo probably for a couple months. Um, Levine and DeRozan. DeRozan probably had one of his best seasons of his career last year. So I mean, it'll be hard for him to replicate that. Uh, I would be surprised if he has as good of a season as he did last season. He was, I think, maybe in the top seven in the MVP race, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of disappointing because they're kind of stuck in the middle. But I do like Ayo Dosunmu, who is going to be their starter when Lonzo's out, and they returned Patrick Williams, who was a pretty good rotational piece for them while until he got injured last season as a big man, and then Vucevic obviously as a center. I mean, he kind of had a disappointing year last year. I kind of expected more from him. Um, but yeah, I mean, they're kind of stuck in the play-in right now. They got swept by the Bucks, last season. That's like a 6 seed, I think. But I don't know. They might have actually they won one game, right? So yeah, but I but still like they're it's hard for them to come out of the first round right now, I think. Uh, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anybody gets injured on that team with DeRozan and between DeRozan and Levine because then they could be sliding down. Yeah, the next team I would say, let's see, it's probably going to the next category, even though technically there is the plan does extend to the 10 seed, but I think all these teams will be fighting for the play-in. Um, the Knicks, right? Adding Jalen Brunson, they finally have some kind of order in their team with Brunson, Barrett, Randall, Mitchell Robinson. Somehow they're still starting Evan Fournier. Uh, they probably don't have enough, to get out of the first round obviously, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they make another trade midseason. Getting Randall out for some, a better wing, something like that. But yeah, they will be fighting for that play-in spot. Um, Obviously that's 10. So, that's kind of my order of that 10. Um, I think it will be hard for them to even get out of the play-in, right? So Um, yeah, that's my 10 for the plan. But the next team I probably have is the Wizards, with Beal and Porzingis and Kyle Kuzma. It'll be interesting to see how much Johnny Davis plays. I feel like for like a top 7 pick or something like that, he hasn't been really getting that much buzz this season. Um, for rookie of the year or anything like that. But he should play if Beal is out for a little bit. They said I think he has COVID and another injury as well. So yeah, um, I think Beal is obviously like the best player out of maybe these two teams, but they probably should be looking down more than up just to give a boost to their team. Getting in that top 5 for the lottery, but I think they do still think they can make the plan. But yeah, we'll see about them. The next team I might surprise you guys, but I think it's the Magic. They should be fighting for that playing spot. I think Franz should have a big year. Obviously, third year, second year leap. There's already a lot of hype between him and Paolo and Wendell Carter Jr. was a pretty solid front court. Like just having two good wings on your team can make a huge difference. Just grinding out wins every night. So I think they will be improved. They only won like 22 games last season, so even if they can make a 10-game improvement, that's probably a good indicator. It sucks that Suggs already got injured, but Fultz should be ready for the season, and I do hope that he's able to stay healthy through the season and show some good signs, because he did show some signs last season at the end of last season when he came back, but obviously it was too late and the Magic were already looking at the lottery at that point. Next, I think I'd have to go Detroit. And the only thing that's putting Orlando above Detroit a little bit is Orlando's a little bit further along. Obviously, Wendell Carter Jr. is already 5-6 years into the league. Um, they just have a little bit more. I don't know, like they kind of know their rotation. It's gonna be Fultz. It's gonna be Fultz and Cole Anthony at the guard. It's gonna be Franz and Paolo at the wings. It's gonna be Wendell Carter Jr. at the center spot for Detroit. It's got to be Cade, obviously, and Ivy. I think they still need to know how to play with each other. And then you're throwing in Sadiq Bey, you're throwing in Jalen Duren, you're throwing in Isaiah Stewart. You should throw in Killian Hayes, who is still fighting for that spot at the point guard position. So I would be surprised if they make the plan. I would be surprised if they make the plan, right? So, and they probably should tank for another season just to get another prospect in there. It wouldn't hurt them. Although, like, they do have a lot of hype this year. They probably will be, very fun to watch. But yeah, I just don't think they can make the plan. Um, yeah, but yeah, I think that's all I had for that tier. Let's see, Charlotte. Charlotte's probably going to be in the tanking race for Wembanyama. Um, that would be an amazing fit with him and LaMelo Ball. But yeah, I would be surprised if they do make the play-in. And I don't they might not be that bad, like, heading into the All-Star break, but then they'll probably realize that they need to shut some pieces down just to go for that, final 5, top 5 in the lottery spots. So, and obviously Miles Bridges is a huge miss, probably their best player, last season, just all around best player and scorer and number one scorer on their team last season. So, it's a shame that they lost him for this year and probably, for the future. Um, Obviously LaMelo is still there. I don't know how much he can carry this season. Just has a lack of pieces. PJ Washington, he should improve, but they really need some of their other guys to step up, like James Booknight and you know maybe JT Thor, maybe. But yeah, I think they will be tanking at least by the end of the season. If not, they might obviously go for some wins in the beginning of the year. They will be somewhat competitive, but I do think they should be tanking, and I think they will realize that they are a tanking squad by January, February, and we'll start resting LaMelo and the other guys a little bit more. And then let's see, 3, 6, 9, 13, 14. So the last team obviously is the Indiana Pacers. Um, they still have Miles Turner and Buddy Hield on the team. They should probably make a trade for them. Obviously, after seeing Scoot and Wembanyama, they would be great additions to their team, and they would love that. Just excitement to Indiana again. They haven't really had a top pick, blow up like that since probably Paul George, and even then he was, not that high. He wasn't top five or anything like that. I do like Matherin. He's a pretty athletic guard that should help between him and Tyrese Halliburton. That's a pretty good, starting spot for them. But they probably just don't have enough pieces. Chris Duarte was actually decent last season as a wing. Um, but yeah, especially if they make that trade for uh, whether they get Russ or somebody else, just giving away Heald and Miles Turner, they probably just need to hit the reset on that and just start from scratch with the Wemby, Scoot, one of the Thompson twins. Just go for the draft, Indiana. Just you know finally bottom out. They don't really bottom out at all, in the past like 20 years. So it would I think it would finally be time for them to bottom out and possibly get a generational prospect like Wembanyama or Scoot, somebody like that. So yeah, these are my Eastern rankings. The team that can probably jump from category to category, I would probably say is obviously Miami. Um, but yeah, I'm just kind of down on Miami this season. I don't know, like the other teams just excite me more. Um, but you never know. Spoelstra might coach them to 50 wins again. So yeah, it's kind of a shame that these other teams. It's just like a loaded Eastern Conference this season. It really is. So yeah, these are my Eastern rankings. Let me know what you guys think. I'll be back with another video of the Western rankings. And yeah, like the video, subscribe, and yeah, thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys next time.